What's up, baby?
Turkey killing mofos. Hey, you a professional now.
You got her? Heck yeah, man. That's awesome, dude. Hell yeah.
Storytelling in regards to hunting and fishing has gone back hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Literally on the rock walls of our nation.
Push it.
Yes, sir.
What you doing, Brandon?
Go. By the way, your nipples are already wet.
I just shot probably one of the most epic scenes, like, probably ever. These two monster bugs got after it, and it was so cool.
That's about like what you want it to look like. Cover it.
Oh, he's so handsome.
That's a big deer, Megs.
He's big. He's a big boy. That's talking whitetail.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Holy crap.
Look at those hooves.
Everybody wants to be a turkey hunter until it's time to do turkey hunters.
AirPods not that long ago. I was still using that tied in cord on my phone listening to stuff, and one of my buddies at work was like, "Hey man, I just got the new ones and I got these left over. You want them? You know, I cleaned them and everything, but if you want them, you can have them." And I was like, "All right, I'll try them out." And I've been using them, and I haven't, knock on wood, man, I haven't lost them yet because that was my biggest fear. But just like setting one down somewhere or something. But I've enjoyed having them.
I didn't lose them. They just quit working, so I'm going to get a new one. I've got a set of those axles.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those. I haven't tried them, but I've seen them everywhere.
I mean, if you pay attention, they do like 4th of July sale where it's like 50% off.
Okay.
$150 worth it.
Yeah.
350 no.
Yeah. I hear you on that, and I've used some other ones. I had the ISO tunes, and they worked for surprisingly. They were kind of not a cheaper made brand, but like a more affordable brand. And I used them for a long time, and they worked perfect. Like, But one day they come in a little Bluetooth charging little case, just like AirPods. I threw them up on my dash, and then I threw something else up on top of my dash and forgot that they were there. So then I'm looking for them, and I finally find them, but it was like hot already, and it melted. And I think they got too hot sitting up there on my dash.
Some
and they
glue
were ruined.
or something.
Yeah,
some
they
glue
were
or
ruined.
something.
But I was real sad about that because they worked out so good.
And I'm not trying to track axle or anything. As far as noise reduction on shots, yes. My complaint, and it's not Bluetooth. The Bluetooth works fine. I can talk on the phone with them. I just don't have them down here. They're up in Missouri in my truck. My complaint with them is the wind. Like if there's just little wind, it just rolls.
Yeah.
And so that's my only complaint with them, though. If there's no wind, you're fine. But if there's any kind of breeze,
yeah,
you're going to hear it.
That's been my experience with some of the other ones I've tried too. Because for a little while I used those ISO tunes even when I was turkey hunting, and it was cool to like hear a gobble far off, like that you just hear something like that. But then it got, like you said, that wind. Even with those too, it's like if it was howling, which most of the time that time of year, that's what it's doing. It blew it out, and all you hear was the roar of the wind and stuff.
Yeah, and I had a guy come down, older gentleman, Joe Ham. He's kind of a well-known turkey hunter. He came down this year, turkey hunted with me, and he was wearing, oh man, I cannot remember the brand he had on, but they were $1,500, $1,500 full. They're the ones that come flush with your ear, right? And he was hearing, and I'm 45. I've been around guns all my life.
Yeah.
Not been the most responsible with the earplugs. And then being a guide, I can't, a lot of times just can't wear them. And customers hear bird flush or what have you. He was hearing gobbles that I wasn't hearing.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a 70 some odd year old man that been same as me, been around guns his whole life, lived through the whole shoving cotton in his ears.
Yeah, put your finger in your ear.
Yeah, if anything. And he was hearing gobbles that I wasn't hearing. And so next year, my partner and I, Jose, we're gonna get them. I mean, there's several different brands I'm researching right now that it's just stupid not to have the hearing protection, especially with what's on the market now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he was telling me that he didn't ever hear any noise or any wind. The wind doesn't bother me. They got all that. Like, you pay for what you get, and at the $1,200 price range, I feel like you should be getting something pretty special.
Exactly. Well, that's cool, man. It's always fun to me, like when I start a podcast like this, because like I hit record because my computer's over there, and we get into it, and I've been lucky that like this is how most of them start. So I do a little intro, kind of introduce you and everything, and then we'll get into it because we're definitely going to talk about some turkeys because that's my jam. But welcome
Thank
everybody to another episode of the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Brandon McDowell. And tonight, or today, as you're listening to this podcast, I'm joined by Mr. Paul Anderson. He's head outfitter and guide at Dorado Outfitters. I think we first met, I want to say we met at Houston Safari Club maybe a few years ago.
A few years ago, because I quit doing Houston. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it was there, and then we ran into each other again out at SEI with West Texas, which I just did a podcast with Brandon last night, recorded one because he came back from New Zealand, and I wanted to hear all about that trip and stuff. So that was pretty cool for all the listeners.
I called him today. He's like, man, I was about to call you.
Yeah, we were talking after we got done. Like I said, for the listeners, that podcast will probably be out, so y'all definitely go check that one out. But we were talking about after we got off because he was saying he wants to get back down there and come hunt some birds, and I'm like, dude, let me know because I'll be real excited. That'll be my first trip, like to hunt Mexico, and it's been something that I've wanted to do for a long time, especially birds, and then whitetails and all that stuff, and then turkeys too. It's just to me, it's like just a further south extension of South Texas because it's kind of like the same country, kind of for the most part, looking wise, but it's a different country to hunt in, and it's right there.
The habitat. I'll put it this way, and this is going to upset some Texans, but a guy named Chip Davis, if you're familiar with Turkeys for Tomorrow, or
Yep.
Chip's a turkey guy. I think he's a board member of Turkeys for Tomorrow now. But Chip said it best. This is like South Texas, but for men.
Yeah, it's a little rougher, I think, and a little obviously, but it's a little less developed. You can get lost in South Texas on some of those ranches, but if you head far enough in one direction, you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm. And here you can walk for days some places and not, maybe run. There's a lot of people out there working. You'll run into people, but you're a long ways from any town or any city. You'll walk and run into a guy on a burro. Pay attention. You'll see some smoke going up out there in the Monte somewhere. But it's a beautiful place. Tamaulipas is. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, it has everything. I'm a bird hunter, and I do like shooting my deer, and I like shooting pigs and all that stuff. But at heart, I'm a bird hunter, and for a bird hunter, there's no better place in the world. And I've been a lot of places in the world bird hunting. There's no better place in the world for it. We've got wild quail, doves, white wings, mourning doves, white-tipped doves, Inca doves. I mean, not that anybody's shooting Incas, but we've got like 5 different species of doves, red-billed pigeons, ducks, geese, turkeys. We've got it, and it's just a beautiful place with a lot of varied terrain. I mean, we have jaguars.
Yeah.
We had 6 different kinds of wild cats here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I saw a meme the other day. A guy that works for the Cabela's Foundation messaged me back the other day, and we had went back and forth over obsession for men apparently really attracts wild cats, like big cats. like Calvin Klein Obsession for Men, the cologne.
Really?
So, yeah, this year I'm putting Calvin Klein Obsession for Men all over trees. I'm going to try and get me some Jaguars. I did a couple years ago. I got some Jaguars on trail cam, but I didn't get after it last year like I had been.
Yeah.
I'm going to get back. I'm going to get back after it this year. I'm trying that Obsession for Men thing.
Yeah, that's funny. There's a guy.
All my turkey hunters. Make sure I tell all my turkey hunters, do not wear
that. Yeah, exactly. There's a page I follow, Four Seasons Outdoors. He takes a bunch of like old school photos, black and white photos, and he colorizes them. Well, one he colorized the other day was actually a photo of the last known jaguar that was killed in Texas, and I want to say it was back in 1921, and it was in Kingsville.
Yeah, I saw it.
And for people that don't know, like Kingsville is pretty far south, but it's a long way far north of where a lot of people saw him. And I mean, that's just as recent as 1921. So 100 years ago. I mean, I think this is my opinion, because you see him cross more over in Arizona. There's more sightings that way coming into America. Man, there's more deer in Texas than ever before. With all the way that people manage for them and people hunt them. I mean, there's nothing for a big ranch in Texas for the listeners is like to be on an MLD program and have 130 doe tags. Like that is an overabundance of the population. Okay. So if that's booming, how are you going to tell me that there's not an abundance of predators that are also preying on those deer? So, I mean, even from jaguars to mountain lions, I think, like you said, they're cats. And if people see house cats, they're very, very sneaky. And if they don't want to be seen, they're not going to be seen.
I'd bet my next 3 paychecks that there's a jaguar in Texas.
Yeah, walking around right now.
I'm 3 hours south of the border. They are all around us. A big male's territory is 400 square miles.
Yes.
The math, says there's one there.
Exactly.
And then as you go up the border, they don't. As you get up the border and go into Wawila, it gets a little more arid. There's going to be fewer cats, but they're still there.
Yeah.
And then, Warner Glenn found his or bait that cat up, and like I want to say that was like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Late 90s or something.
That was a real cool story.
Yeah, so if that happened that long ago, there's at least one.
Yep.
There's at least one in the state of Texas.
Yeah, and if he's not there today, he was there tomorrow, and if he wasn't there tomorrow, he was there yesterday.
and the other thing people got to realize is the guys in South Texas aren't stupid. They know for a fact that if they put that trail cam picture out there with the jaguar on it, say this is Texas Parks and Wildlife, or somebody's going to come in and take that ranch over, and you're not going to be able to do anything on it.
Exactly.
Or at least they think that. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they think that. Same with the jaguarundi. They say there hadn't been a jaguarundi confirmed in South Texas, and I saw one on a certain ranch when I was 20 years old. So
yeah, exactly. They're there. They're just.
But as
few
far as
between.
As far as people confirming them, they're not going to let it be known that they're there.
Yeah.
No, I understand that too. So,
but yeah, so down in the area you are, it's just an abundance of wildlife, and I try to. It's cool to talk to people, obviously like you, because you have great stories. But it's also an element of I just think of myself being. And we have like some younger people that watch, or listen to the podcast and stuff. And it's like how that when we were going through high school and you sat down with a counselor, if you had a school that had a counselor, most likely, and you try to be like, what are you going to do when you grow up? And of course, like, I'm sure when you were in high school and when I was in high school too, like I'm a few years younger than you, but still everybody's like, go to college, get a good job, do this, do that. Like this is the path, right? There was no path. There was nobody telling people that, hey, you're young. You should go out west and learn how to pack mules and pack animals and horses and do that kind of stuff. Or you should go to Africa and be an assistant guide, or go to New Zealand and do these different things, or go see stuff and do stuff. So it's always interesting to find people like yourself that have, worked in this industry for so long, and nobody from the people I've talked to, nobody's path has been the same. You get kind of some of the guys, well, my dad was a guide, and that's how I got into it, and it's just a family thing, and not knocking that at all. That's an awesome.
I mean, that's honestly the dream.
Exactly, that's the dream.
That's the American dream.
My buddy Jared and I were talking, because he was going to Africa on the podcast, and we were like, man, because we were talking about our sons, taking them to Africa, and we're like, dude, like, what would you do if, your son came and he's like, Dad, I kind of want to stay over here, and I kind of want to learn how to do this. And like that, like you said, that's the dream. But the dream. I don't know if that was your case or how you got into it, but that's what I'm leading into. Is like, how did you figure out this was your passion and this was something that you wanted to do?
It's kind of, I have a similar story, a funny story. Like, I remember being in third grade, Miss Anderson's class. My last name's Anderson. She had an E in, but Miss Anderson's class, and I wore, I think Realtree Advantage just came out, but I had bibs on. I wore camo to third grade, saying, it was a career day, whatever. Kids were dressed up as baseball players, and I said, I'm going to be a hunter. And I remember Miss Anderson saying, well, that's not a job. You can't do that. Yeah. Well, I'm going to. And so that's third grade. And so that's all I've ever wanted to do, ever cared about. And I was extremely blessed with my family. I had a father that said, hey, as long as you work hard, you can do anything you set your mind to. Just work hard. Yeah. And that's what my dad and my mom both always told me. And so I never really deviated from the hunting. Like, I want to be a hunter, I'm going to be. And so I got really lucky when I was 15, I moved to Iowa and worked for, my parents moved to Iowa I moved there for about 2 years and worked for a man named Harold Adams at Doc's Dog Kennel and Hunt Club. And Harold was in Adel, Iowa, the home of Gun Dog magazine. Okay. The publisher of Gun Dog was Dave Meisner at the time. Tom Holcomb was their vet, wrote the veterinary article for Gun Dog at the time. They were all out of Adel. And Harold was nice enough to give me a job at 16. I ran my first bird hunt at 16 one day when a guy didn't show up. And that I've been in it ever since. Like, that's all I know. Now I've done a bunch of different jobs in the hunting industry. Yeah. But that's really how I got started. And then from there, and I'll make this as quick as I can. From there, I graduated high school and just kept working in and around hunting. I moved back to Missouri for halfway through my junior year and my senior year. And even then I worked for as a trap mechanic or Clay's range or whatever I could do to be around shotguns, hunting, whatever. Mm-hmm. And did a lot of cutting tobacco and bucking bales at that time too. But it was one of those things where it was just in my mind. And so when I graduated high school, I wanted to find a degree, and I came across a school in Southern Illinois, Southeastern Illinois College. It had a game preserve management and shooting complex management associate's degrees. Prerequisite, like you had to have a bird dog and a shotgun to be accepted into the class. That's freaking cool. And I was like, yes, this is my school. And so I got accepted into that, did my internship at Joshua Creek Ranch in Bernie. Okay. Yeah. And did my internship there 2000, 2001. I'm still really good friends with Courchevel's, with Joshua Creek. It's a beautiful place, great people. One of my best friends in the whole world is in charge of the hunting. A bunch of my friends work there. Yeah. I support Joshua Creek 20 years later. I support Joshua Creek. They're my friends. Yeah. I've heard good things about them. I think my mother-in-law's hunted there. And Brandon's been there before, and I follow him on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And it looks like an awesome place. And then from there, I did some time on the King Ranch on a lease. Worked in Georgia quail hunting for for Sea Island, which is a really nice resort on the coast. I guided their quail hunts for a couple of years, and then from there, it just kind of snowballed. At one point, I was a manufacturer's rep with 21 brands throughout 5 states: Texas, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. 10-point crossbows, blah blah blah. I mean, a bunch of 21 brands in the outdoor space, and just kind of stayed in it, and so you're talking 20 years from, well, not 15 years from the time I worked in Georgia to the time I'm a rep. And then I ran a camo company for a little while. COVID hit. And that was the end of that. And it was really, and not to run on, but it was really one of those things where this is meant to be. Me being in Mexico is meant to be. I resigned. I don't like saying the word quit. I resigned from the company. It was called Onca Gear. They made great gear. It was based out of Spain, and then COVID hit, and I resigned from them. Took like 5 steps out of my car, got off the phone with them. This is like height of COVID. I ran back to be close to my mom while all that stuff was going on, and I'd just driven 12 hours from Houston to Missouri, and I resigned as I was pulling into their driveway. I was finishing up the conversation. Got out, got a phone call about 3 steps out of my truck right after I got off the phone. And it was a guy asking me if I was interested in working in Mexico running a lodge. So, I mean, basically, I was literally unemployed for 30 seconds, 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And so came down here, worked at that lodge for a little while, met Jose Alemán, now my business partner, 50-50 partner. He's like a brother to me.
Yeah.
Met him. I think we finished out that season together and just decided, let's do this. Let's do it on our own. And I took a loan, sold a bunch of stuff, and here we are now 4 years later. And it's been a wild ride. I mean, literal blood, sweat, and tears to get to where we're at now. I won't go through all that, but it was a hard climb to get to where we're at, and we're still climbing. I mean, we still got a ways to go, but our product is exceptional. Our lodge is beautiful. We're right on Lake Guerrero. I can look out the window right here. Out that window right there is Lake Guerrero, and I got 6 bass boats in the back. I'm literally living the dream right now.
Yeah. I mean, and that's awesome to hear, because I mean, like you said, there's nobody that teaches you how, like, growing up watching hunting shows and stuff, some people knew, some people didn't, or reading those magazines like you talked about. It's like, how do you do this? How do you become this person that writes these stories, that reviews these products, that get to go to all these places? And there was no path to it. So when you hear about how, like, you've had multiple jobs in the industry, that's excuse me. That's another thing I hear. It's like, you got to be able to work in different aspects, have different skills to get back to what you really want to do is hunt and fish too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the truth of it is, if you're asking how can a kid do this, go find rock bottom. I mean, I started out cleaning kennels.
Yeah.
That's where I started. I started as low as you can start in the bird hunting world. I cleaning dog kennels, and go find that rock bottom job, pay your dues, work hard. When the opportunities come in front of you, don't pass them up, because you're not going to get a bunch. And when the guy, the wealthy gentleman says, "Hey, I got this opportunity, you should do this," at least look at it.
Yeah.
A lot of kids are, "Oh, that's not what I want." No, look at it and give it some secondhand thinking, and look above it and see where it could maybe take you. But I'll tell you where my big break was I was working in Georgia, and this is where I consider what changed my life. I was working in Georgia running quail hunts. One of my customers was I think he was the number 2 guy at Midwest Vaco. But he had traveled all over the world hunting and fishing, and he used one specific booking agent out of Houston to book all his hunts around the world. And one day he just asked me, like, what are you doing, Paul? Like, you could do whatever. You want to come work for me? He was constantly trying to get me to work for him.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, man, I hunt. Like, I couldn't go work in an office. And he's like, oh, no, blah, blah. But what he did was he called a lady named Jerry Booth out of Houston, Texas, that ran the Detail Company Adventures. And back then, Detail Company was force. I mean, it's pretty well gone now. But back then, it was a force to be reckoned with. And I went to work for them for 4 years, really, that first round. And I went back a couple years later for a couple more years, for about a year and a half. And Detail Company sent me all over the world. I went to 30 plus lodges in Argentina, Uruguay, Bolivia. I mean, just saw things that I would have never, ever have seen. And so Detail Company really gave me my break. And I wouldn't say break, but really opened my eyes as to the possibilities that are in this industry on an international level.
Yeah.
And especially when you start talking about Africa and all those things. But it also taught me what a really good lodge is, what really good food is, what really good outfitters do.
Yeah.
And I learned from some of the very best. Like back then, those guys didn't realize it. Like Manuel Inez, Tomas Frontera, Los Chinares, I can name 30 lodges. Those guys didn't realize it. But I'm taking notes, man. I was learning every second as to how they did it, how their chef worked, how the kitchen worked, how their housekeeping worked.
Yeah.
How they sold it. Not only that, but how did they market? How did they run their accounting? All of it. And so I was just spent years with those international guys. There's some really serious people that are, I mean, internationally known award winners that I learned from every time I went on one of those places. Not to mention the 30 plus places I've worked and been to here in the States, or it's more than that at this point. It's got to be around 50, 60. I don't even know anymore, you know, how many lodges and stuff I've been to or worked at or consulted at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Detail Company was the thing that really kind of changed my life. But then grabbing hold of the opportunity was the main thing.
Yeah.
You know?
And let me ask you this. When you made that change, when you made that jump from that place where you were working in Georgia to going to work for that guy, did you, I think a lot of people too are afraid of taking a pay cut. Did you take a pay cut for that other job?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I straight up said, you pay me a little bit and I'll work on commission.
Yeah.
You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe it. And I did. And I never really was good at the sales. Like, even when I was a manufacturer's rep, I wasn't good at the sales because I don't lie. I don't BS. If a product's crap, I say it's crap. No, you don't want that. It's crap.
Yeah.
You know? I got mad. I got some outfitter or some manufacturers pretty mad at me for saying it, but I'm like, well, build a better product, man. Like, this is why it's crap, and this is why I'm not going to put my name on it. And I won't name any of those. Like, I would say the best of all of those 21 brands, the best one that I highly recommend to this day is Victory Arrows.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard good things about them.
I swear by Victory Arrows. No money on them, nothing. It's a great company, good people, quality product. You can't go wrong with Victory Arrows.
Yeah. And a little bit on the sales side is like, how hard was it for you you obviously like that company. How hard was it for you to sell that company?
Not hard at all because I believed it.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
And so, you know, with the other stuff, I'm like, man, I'm not selling this damn D loop, you know, like, you know, but then there's another company, Sears Gloves. Fully believed in Sears Gloves. I watched the CEO who is he is an NFL ref. I think he was actually the first African-American NFL ref. First African-American NFL umpire.
Gotcha.
He starts Sears Gloves. I got to watch him work that meeting with the Academy, and it's still one of the more kind of pivotal moments in my professional career was watching him work through that and how he handled those guys asking the questions on margins, all of it, you know, And that was actually Sears Gloves, the guy. I believed in Sears. And it was neat because we had that meeting. A couple weeks later, you go into Academy, or a month or two later, you go into Academy, and there's your NCAT, Sears Gloves. Yeah, that's cool. You know, that was really cool. And so, yeah, you know, it's all one of those things where, as far as this industry and how many opportunities there are, it's what you make of it, just like anything else. I mean, if you're going to go be in the oil industry, you can stay where you're at, or you can go up, you know, and I think a lot of people are content to stay where they're at, and that's fine. I never was one of those people.
Yeah. I kind of have a bit of that myself. Obviously, like you said, you had parents that believed in you and told you can go do stuff. And kind of same thing with me. Like my mom always told me, like, if you ever really want to be somebody and like do something, you got to work for yourself. You got to work hard, and you got to be confident in yourself. And you do that by performing the things and doing the things that you're supposed to do. Now, you're not going to have confidence in yourself if you lay out a plan and don't execute on the plan, because we're all born with a dream or a passion of what we want to do. And especially now with the internet and all that kind of stuff, you can kind of make that. I mean, my biggest thing, and
if you have the guts to do it now and get on in front of the camera and do it,
yeah,
in a matter of and work hard at it and have the right combination of the right ingredients, you can blow up overnight now.
Yeah. And I always look back at those, I think back to like the 90s and stuff when parents were telling you, you know, like, you need to quit playing those video games. You'll never make money playing video games. And now there's streamers that are just playing video games and making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
The kid that came down and hunted last year told me that now there's tournaments out there that the winner makes $1 million or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they pay down to 15th place up to $50,000.
Yeah.
At 23, you'd have given me $50,000. You wouldn't have seen me for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. You mean all I got to do is sit here and play this Xbox and get good at it? Like,
man, I'd have been taking that $50,000 and been in the woods now.
I mean,
I'd have been gone.
Yeah.
And
they'd see me for one tournament a year, and that'd be about it. Just make my money, and then I'm gone again.
$50,000 and I'm out. But yeah, you know, and so I do think now it's easier, and this also is a bad thing when you look at it. There's a lot of experts, and they're on their first, like in my world, they're on their first bird dog. They've killed, 5 limits in their entire life.
Yeah.
But somehow and I'm not mad at them for it. I'm a little frustrated with the people that recklessly follow them, believe every word out of their mouth, but they've blown up into an expert. And a lot of them I've watched eventually become an actual expert, just out of, 5 years of messing with it. Eventually you learn something.
Yeah.
But there's a heck of a lot of people out there that don't know a darn thing and have 200,000 people following.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
Very, very true. Very true. And I think that's obviously in the hunting industry.
2 sides to that.
Yeah. There is. And I mean, that's kind of what it like. I try to never come off as an expert. Like I told you about doing the podcast, like it's just us hanging out talking. But I like to tell people my experience, because if I can help somebody with the little stuff that I do, like, I mean, help them not mess up like I did, like I'm good for it. And like to see the good stuff that I do too, like, hey, it worked. Maybe I'll try it. But like, yeah, you get a lot of people that are on social media, like, this is the way that you do this, and this is the way that you do that. And it's like, man, like, pump the brakes a little bit.
I'll listen to the guy if he's got, but a lot of it, that's kind of stuff is just regurgitated nonsense that he heard.
Yeah.
I listen to the people that are worth listening to, and I let everything else go, just like everybody else that has any, critical thinking.
Yeah.
But, social media is one of those double-edged swords, and I think on a podcast like this, we go down a hell of a rabbit hole with that.
Yeah, for sure. I've been a fan of it, but I see the bad parts too.
I try to stay away from it. I've been in this industry forever, and I've always kind of flown under the radar. I never wanted to be a known entity.
Yeah.
As far as I never wanted to be a celebrity, and I'm on a bunch of hunting shows. You see me walking across the back, or
Yeah.
they're like, no, that's your job, man. You're here to be the front of the camera. I'm just bringing the arrows or the whatever, or a lot of cases I was the guide, and just, no, you're in front of the camera. That's not my job. So I going back to the VHS days to now, it's just a whole nother world. Mm-hmm. It's just a whole other world. And I don't know if it was good or bad. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll figure it out one day. So kind of going back to that third grade, Paul, like, how did you, obviously you started hunting with your family and everything. Like, what were were you a bird hunter from birth, or like, how, I always ask this because you hear about guys that fall in love with chasing ground nesting birds. When I first got into turkey hunting, that was like the thing that they talked about. It's like, when you fall in love with a ground nesting bird, you're going to be upset more often than not. And I think that kind of goes with quail too. I mean, you got to be a different individual, and it's not the same as the whitetail stuff. It's not the same as the going out west and shooting big mule deer and elk, which, that's what most people want to do. But how did you get your start and like fall in love with the bird, upland, and waterfowl stuff?
My grandfather. So you've heard of Habitat Flats?
Yes.
The Habitat Flats. Habitat Flats is literally my grandfather's farm. That was my grandfather's farm, Triplet, Missouri, Hog Ridge Road, just south of Sumner, Missouri. He retired and sold it. I don't blame him. I'm not mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta retire. And so, but up until I was about 9 or 10, he farmed I wouldn't say it's all Habitat. That's not true. But it is. Habitat Flats owns some of my grandpa's old land. And so I grew up right there, middle and heart of Missouri, and some of the best duck hunting in the world, goose hunting, definitely some of the best goose hunting in the world, but some of the best duck hunting in the world as well. Walking, and my dad and my grandpa really influenced me. My grandpa as much as anybody, but my dad also, and my uncles. Both my uncles really were instrumental in me learning. But it was one of those places where they'd hand a 10-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid a 410 and say, walk the railroad tracks, shoot, go hunt, walk the railroad tracks. And I'd walk the railroad tracks by myself, covey of quail, get up, I'd miss, rabbit would come out, shoot at it, geese would come over, I'd shoot at them, and just walk the railroad tracks as a 10, 12-year-old kid. And so, and then come back to the other side and work that other side and shoot covey, quail or two. And back then there were way more quail. Farming practices were different. And just everything was different. You're talking 1989, 10, 11, to 91, 92.
Yeah.
And so, that's really it. My dad and my dad was one of those guys that he shot one deer in his entire life. He shot one, said it wasn't for him, and he bird hunted.
Yeah.
So I bird hunted a lot. I've shot a ton of deer in my life, and I've shot a ton of pigs, and I like big game hunting. I don't have any problem with it. It's just not my bag, The real thing that got me at a young age was the dogs. Mm-hmm. I remember one of my earliest memories. My grandpa, Horse Twyman, lived in Sheraton County, Missouri, and had a Brittany called Lady. And I remember Brittany Lady slamming on a point out there on the railroad tracks one day, and Grandpa just had a nice, pretty little double just right there in front of me, and I wasn't shooting. I was just walking along with him, and I'll never forget that. I'll never forget Lady slamming on point and Grandpa doubling, and that was the coolest thing I ever saw. And it still to me is like a dog slamming on point and somebody coming up and just boom, boom with a nice side by side. That's the epitome of hunting in my book. Now, granted, there's sheep hunters in the world. Like, a sheep hunter is a whole nother level. I'm talking about a gentleman's sport of quail hunting.
Yeah.
That is it. To me, that is it. And really, that's why I'm in Mexico. We ran 27 coveys a day last year. That was our average. We had days last year, I couldn't tell you how many coveys. It was just birds all day.
Golly.
Just birds all day. And I got references to prove it.
Oh, yeah. They got videos to prove it too. Like you see them on the page. I mean, it's I think it's real different, obviously, with bird hunting and the dogs being the aspect of it. I mean, my thing when I got me into it, a lot of it was the dog, like seeing Old Yeller, reading Where the Red Fern Grows, seeing the movie. Like there's something about.
We all read those books, man, and you should.
Yeah,
really should.
I think every hunter should, because nowadays you see some of the hunters that talk about, they say they're hunters but they kind of look down on using a dog as a tool to hunt with. And yes, you're using it as a tool to hunt with, but that dog is far more than a weed eater or a hammer or a side-by-side or anything else.
To me, if you give me a pack of dogs that loves what they're doing, there's not an animal on this world that I won't chase.
Yeah.
An elephant, a damn ground squirrel.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
The dog is after it. I'm after it too. Let's go, buddy.
Man,
we are a team. Let's get after this little chipmunk.
Exactly. And I mean, I think it's something obviously that's ingrained in us with hunting, because I mean, that was the whole purpose of domesticating wolves and turning them into dogs. Like, it wasn't to sit in your lap, man, which is cool, don't get me wrong, and love on you and do all that kind of stuff. Like I do it with my dogs, but it was to go out and you're hungry, I'm hungry, and together we're gonna go get something to eat, and that's what we're gonna go do. Now, it's evolved.
I don't mind the lap dog, but my lap dog's gonna damn hunt something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I've said this many times, that my retirement plan is moving to the farm in Missouri. I'm going to get me a kennel full of beagles, and I'm just going to listen to them every morning while I drink my cigarette or smoke my cigarette, drink my coffee, and listen to my beagles. And that is, honest to God, is my retirement plan. Maybe get a couple coonhounds just for fun of it.
Oh, yeah, dude. Me and my same thing. Getting my buddy that I hunt with a lot, Jared. We were talking about that too, because getting our boys hunting, it's like, dude, like you worry about getting a lease and finding all this stuff. It's like, man, who's asking permission to go coon hunting right anymore? No. Like nobody.
There's stuff that you can do in Texas. People like turkey hunting. I'm amazed there's not more turkey hunters in Texas, but it's the easy.
No, I'm just joking. We talked about it on the podcast before, and it's like it's a whole lot easier. You're going to see birds. You're going to have more opportunities.
A damn 2,000 acre turkey lease for a quarter of the price or less that you can get a deer lease.
Yep.
And a lot of those turkey or deer guys that have the turkey rights, they'll sublease it to you for nothing.
Mm-hmm. And might even pay you, because they're tired of the turkeys eating all their protein and their corn and keeping it from the deer.
Yeah, there is a turkey hunting culture in Texas. I've met some very good turkey hunters in Texas. I've met some good call makers in Texas, but they're few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
The average Texan's idea is shooting a turkey's 222, 250 off the feeder.
Yes, sir. Yep. Yeah. And I'm happy, because I'm definitely down to go chase them during the spring.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I like this year, I hunted 21 days straight. I hunted every day. This is my 6th year of hunting every day of the Missouri turkey season.
Golly.
And so my goal is a decade of Missouri turkey seasons, and then I'm gonna write an article or something about it. I'll tell the stories.
Oh,
tell the stories, because at this point, it's after 6 years, I got a bunch of stories. but yeah, by the time the decade's over, oh man, And
Yeah.
then on top of it, guiding down here, not that we run a bunch of turkey hunts, but we killed 10, 12 turkeys every year down here with guests. And I'm hoping next year, I've already got 12 booked for next year. So
Awesome.
it's kind of blown up on me a little bit there. But then that also has to do with the Mexican Slam. 4 or 5 years ago, NWTF came out with the Mexico Slam, where you killed the Goulds, a Mexican Rio, and the Oscillated.
Yep.
And not a whole lot of people have that Mexican Rio, and I'm kind of the only guy in town for it. So
Yeah.
you want
That's
to do Mexican Rio, I'm really your only guy to come hunt with.
I got
So-
you. Well, we're definitely going to do that because it's on my list. I want to shoot a slam. I want to shoot a complete one,
Mhm.
and then I have an Eastern. Of course, I got Rios. We're trying to get. I got a place I can go in Idaho to get a Merriam, and then I might try to go with my buddy Jarrett because he's never killed the Eastern. We're going to try and go to Kentucky and go kill one up there, and get like a because
I'll be hunting every day of the Missouri turkey season next year. You want to come to Missouri? You can't
we
mention
can,
where we're at. You
yeah,
cannot mention where we're at.
that is no problem. But I killed my Eastern in Nebraska, so we went through Missouri to get there. But yeah, I want to get one like a true Eastern because where we were, the one I got, he's a true Eastern, but I know that I killed a Rio Eastern hybrid the next day.
Nebraska's wild, man. You got a lot of different genetics going on up there.
Yeah, because in the same spot, I killed a Eastern Rio hybrid, like not that far from where I got that Eastern. So I'm like, I kind of want to get a true one. But then I also 1 year I want to go and try and do a slam in a year and try to hit all of them.
Yeah, the slams and the chasing 49 and all that is cool. I'm not mad at those people. A lot of people are annoyed with that. They think it's the downfall of turkey hunting.
Yeah,
I don't really have
that and reaping.
Yeah, now I am anti-reaping. I am. I'm not anti-reaping. I'm just personally not going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think. My opinion of turkey hunters is a good turkey hunter that can consistently kill turkeys is the second best woodsman in the woods. The first being a good trapper. A trapper knows more. A trapper knows more about the woods than anybody. The second guy's a good turkey hunter. He understands the woods and how things work better as well as anybody. And so, but a trapper is number one and always will be. And I don't care what anybody says. The trappers,
I agree.
A good trapper knows more than most. But yeah, the turkeys for me, it's a deep seated passion, man. Like it's not even a passion; it's beyond that. It's an obsession. Like I hunted 21 days this year straight. I think I ended up around 30 total over the spring. And as soon as it was over, I'd do it again. You know, I'd start it all over that next day. I'd do 21 days straight and it wouldn't even bother me. Waking up and that's hunting public ground too. Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get my spot.
Yeah.
You know? And I'd do it tomorrow if I could. I really would.
It's definitely and like I said, for the majority of my life I grew up as that typical Texan turkey hunter, you know.
Yep.
22 like we wanted them away from the feeder and for the deer, you know. But we had you're good. No, we had a guy that we met, my buddy Jared met when he went over to Africa the first time, and I've told the story on the podcast, but he came down and he was a turkey hunter from Louisiana, and he wanted to get a Rio for his slam, and I was like, yeah, I'll come out, man. We'll film it, put it on camera. It'll be cool. It's hunting. Let's do it. And I tell you, when I saw that turkey come in and blow up and strut, you know, and you could hear that spitting and drumming, and it was like a light switch. It was like, this is turkey hunting. This is not shooting turkeys. There's a difference. Well, you can shoot turkeys in Texas, but this is turkey hunting. And he, you know, coming in and like him eyeballing you and you have to be still and like all that kind of stuff. Like like I said, it takes a special person to do it because they're the dumbest, smartest animal you'll ever chase.
Yeah, 100%.
You're like, these turkey, in 1 minute you'll be like, you'll go and you'll get one to work like he's supposed to work and comes in, you kill him, and the next second, like you do the same thing, and it's just like, oh, no. This is not happening today.
Yeah. And, I've been hunting turkeys professionally. I think I ran my first one at 20 years old for Joshua Creek. I was actually the first person to ever kill a turkey on Joshua Creek. But yeah, you take them on their first turkey hunt and they go to a point where, I don't know, it's one of those things where they have something in their mind about the stupid neighborhood turkey, and that is not at all. Like, you go hunt any public ground turkey in the world, and they are unbelievably, like, I had 3 birds this year that I hunted over the course of 5 days. If I made one out of place call, if I got one time too aggressive, or if I did something silly, they shut up. And even if I didn't make a mistake and I tried to call, sometimes they just shut up. And that's some pretty smart birds, those pressured public ground birds are a whole nother level. And that's really what I want to hunt. Like, my first week of the season, I'm basically just going around educating birds so that the guys from Mississippi and Louisiana.
Yeah, and I mean it's the aspect of calling them too is cool, like in communicating with them, because like I said, we're on that hunt, and I'm learning from this guy about like turkey hunting, because I mean, like I said, I was brand new to it, and he turns around and tells us that hey, we're calling to him, but their natural instinct, like why they're gobbling, is for the hen to come to them.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to. Yeah, they're not supposed to come to you. And as soon as he told me that, I was like, "What the hell are we doing then? Like, why? Is there not a better way to try to literally trick their natural instinct?" But then when you do it and you make it work, you're like, "Oh, okay. Like I have that power."
There are better ways to trick their natural instinct. Go back to reaping. Look at reaping. That's 100% a great way to trick them. I mean, it works. It's unbelievably effective, but it's cheating. It's cheating. It's like, to me, you might as well have a live bird out there. You might as well have a bird gobbling at them. Yeah. It's no different. It's no different. In fact, in Mexico, it's totally legal. They call it a Sancho. You can tie a turkey out, have turkeys come in and shoot them. It's totally legal. In fact, I don't even have a problem with my guests doing it because it's totally legal, and it's no different than reaping. To me, it's different. It is the exact same thing. To me, the guys that taught me, lack of better term, is chicken shit. It's just not something that I would personally do to that bird. I have too much respect for him to cheat. Just like if he comes by me and I think I can sneak around on him and shoot him on the other, no, he beat me. I didn't. Yeah. I did something wrong. There's going to be another one, and that mentality needs to go out through turkey hunting immediately. And I think Copper Plated 6 is whatever his name is, says it a lot.
Yeah.
Of it's okay if the turkey wins, and no one has that attitude right now. It is not okay if turkey wins. Kill it at all costs.
Yeah, and I'll say too, like, because I did that hybrid I told you about when I was in Nebraska. Like, the guy I was with, he was like, "Hey, well, you want a reap run?" And I was like, "Sure," because I'm new to this. I don't know like anything about it. Like, I think it's cool, right? Because of the interaction. And then as I think it's, and like you said, it is done too much, and I think it's done for views, honestly, because it looks good. It does. It looks good, and I enjoyed doing it that one time. But like, am I going to do it all the time? No. Like, that's not how I want to choose to do it. And that's, like you said, if it's legal, you can't really do anything about it. But there has to be a point where we obviously self-regulate ourselves on if you're going to use that style of hunting. And especially if you're in an area that doesn't have that many birds, like, and especially on public land, I know, because the chance of you not only using that as a tactic to kill a bird, but the chance of you being shot by somebody else because they think you're a bird when you're using a fan, I'm not going to take that chance.
I got walked in on by probably 15 people, and that's 21 days this year. Like, I don't even put decoys out on public now.
No.
Occasionally I do, but sure as hell not a gobbler or Jake. Here's my take on reefing. You never killed a turkey before. You're going to hunt once in your life. Do it. I don't care. But if you're going to become a turkey hunter, you want to be taken seriously as a turkey hunter in the turkey hunting community, you're not reaping birds.
I 100% agree. 100% agree.
I want to be taken seriously in the turkey hunting community, and my friends and the people that I associate with in the turkey hunting community are some of the very best to do it right now.
Yeah.
Chip Davis is the most accomplished turkey hunter in the world, period. There's no one even in his league. And y'all can look him up for yourself. I think Lord knows how many slams he's killed. He's killed a turkey in every place in the world that you can kill a turkey. He's going to New Zealand, I think in August, to finally get his New Zealand bird, and he'll have gotten a gobbler in every place you can kill a gobbler. I
didn't even know there were turkeys in New Zealand. Dang it, Brandon. What were you doing?
Yeah, I meant to ask him that today, but he had to go take care of the girls. But I meant to ask him that today. What about the turkeys down there? But yeah, that's who I want to associate with, and not the content creator reaper guy. Like, he doesn't get it like I get it. Yeah. Or we don't see it the same way. And I don't judge him. I don't dislike him for it. It's just not my bag.
Mm-hmm. And that attitude, that part right there is like, it's not for me. I'm not judging him. I'm not hating on him. That's another thing that needs to be carried over to a bunch of things in the hunting industry. It's like, hey man, that's not how you want to do it. That's cool. But if he's doing it legally and doing it, and he's able to, you can't dog a person for doing it. It's just not the way you would do it.
No. Now, if you do have a problem with it, don't hate the guy. Go to your state representative or whoever.
Get involved.
Yeah. A guy I know, Cameron Weddington, he hates. He's on it. He's on SCU. Find him. Cameron hates reefing. But when he does, is he comes with facts and statistics saying as to why it's hurting turkeys. Have the facts and statistics. Don't just say it's my opinion. I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said,
people don't like Budweiser.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not trying to outlaw Budweiser.
No, and I mean, there's, like you said, there's areas in this country that aren't blessed with a bunch of turkeys, and like you said,
that goes back to the quail, man. Like, that's the whole reason I'm in Mexico.
Ground nets and birds.
There's no quail.
Yeah.
And now I am seeing more and more quail, or hearing more and more quail in the springs, but no, you can't go do anywhere in the United States, period. I know there's going to be guys that balk at that. There's going to be guys that say, well, my lease in Hebronville, we ran 30 coveys a day. You ran 30 coveys a day 2 days out of the season. Mm-hmm. That's all you could do. If you shot those coveys, you got to do it twice.
Yeah.
Now, I do it every day with customers.
Yeah.
And I run probably 500,000 acres. It takes me a lot of land to do it, but I consistently put up 30 coveys a day easy. And this year I think I'm going to do more. And so the turkeys, quail, all that's intertwined. quail are an indicator species. Now, turkeys are more tolerant of habitat changes, but at the same time, if you don't have good nesting habitat for quail, you're not going to have good nesting habitat for turkeys. Her turkeys are just a little more resilient when it comes to that kind of stuff. But really, that's what brought me here was, yes, it was an awesome opportunity for adventure and all that. But at the end of the day, it's an opportunity to shoot wild quail on a level that no one else in the world is doing. There's no one else and I feel like this is a true statement. There's no one else in the world hunting wild quail on the level that we are doing it.
No.
Now there are King Ranch places. There's some places in the South that are private plantations.
Yes.
That are shooting wild quail, but they're not shooting near the numbers. Not seen near the numbers. Even if they are running a 30 covey day, it's a 3 times that a year deal. Whereas I talked to a gentleman that's extremely wealthy and loves quail hunting. And this is the thing about quail hunting. Guys drive trucks to go duck hunting. They drive trucks to go deer hunting. They drive trucks to go turkey hunting. They fly jets to go quail hunting.
Yes, sir.
And that's the truth.
Yes.
And so I was talking to him. I said, if you took all the money and put it per bird, you could buy me out for 7 weeks on 10 birds. The money that he spends on his leases and all his ranches and with 10 birds, you could buy me out for 6-7 weeks. That's how much money they're spending on it to find wild quail. And that's how difficult it is to grow wild quail.
Yes.
And down here, it's amazing. The habitat, the everything is just on steroids. I've invited a couple guys from Texas that are going to come down. They're scientists basically that are going to come down and look at the country and really kind of digest why this place produces the quail that it does. And part of that is, it's a subspecies. We have the spot-bellied bobwhite.
Okay.
And so it is a subspecies of the same Virginia bobwhite, Virginia anus. So the Virginia anus, it's a subspecies, but it's the spot-bellied bobwhite, and it's here to central Tamaulipas only. You go 2 hours north of me, and they're shooting South Texas bobs.
Gotcha.
And I think that has something to do with it. But you go 2 hours north of me, and there's still a bunch of quail. So why is that? Farming practices, number one. Farming practices. Number two, rangeland practices and how they operate their cattle. Now, we're not talking about King Ranch. King Ranch does a great job of rotating cattle and not overgrazing, blah, 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 blah. They do a great job of wildlife management in general. And they're the people you should be paying attention to.
I'd honestly say that they probably, that out of all, even deer included, everything, they kind of set the standard of what it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna lean towards the wildlife and making that something that's important to your program.
If you're in South Texas, it's King Ranch. North Texas it's Pitchfork.
Yep.
But and as you go east, there's a bunch of private places that are just amazing. The thing that annoys me in the quail world right now is how many places in the United States that say we're hunting wild bobs. No, you're not. No, you're not. If you run more than 400 people a year on your place, you're not hunting wild bobs.
No way.
Especially when it's 1,200 acres. Dude, come on. It's 1,200 acres. That'd be shot out in your first 2 groups, 3 groups.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how good of shots they are. And that's why I hunt 500,000 acres.
Yep.
I need it to run.
You need that
running.
Running.
And you talk about these southern wing shooting plantations that it's put and take. Yes, it might have been an early release. Yes, you might have put them out a month or 2 before. Are they wilder? Yes, but they're not
wild quail.
white.
Yeah.
Like, I don't put a bird out. I've never bought a bird in Mexico. I've never released a bird in Mexico. That's a lie. I've trapped wild birds and released them for my dogs.
Yeah.
But I've never released a pen raised bird in Mexico. Never will. It's detrimental to my population, diseases and things like that. But there's no need to. There's birds everywhere. I mean, tomorrow morning I'll be able to walk out my front door here on the porch, look at the lake, and I'll see 2 coveys of quail. Well, right now they're paired up. They're still breeding. So I'll see couple pairs of quail walking through the yard tomorrow. And come in August, when I come back down for dove season, there'll be coveys of quail walking across the yard.
Yeah.
Just everywhere. I mean, they're everywhere.
I was pretty lucky, growing up where I did in Goliad. Like we obviously we were not having huge coveys of quail, but there was nothing. It wasn't out of the norm that like we were out working cows or doing something else like that, and you would hear bobwhite quail. And I tell you, I don't know if you might have when you were down at the King Ranch. You ever heard of a man named oh my gosh, now I'm gonna. But the Markhams, Jeff Markham.
Yeah, I know who he is. I don't know him personally, but
yeah. So I worked for them because he's a real estate broker in Huntsville, and I worked for them for a while. And one of the coolest quail experiences I ever had, I'd go out. I was a drone operator, so I'd fly all their properties and do that stuff. So I spent a lot of time with Mr. Markham. And one of the coolest days we ever had, we went to this property a little north of Huntsville, and we pulled up. And we were in separate trucks because we met there, and we pulled up and a fox ran by. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he stopped and he like stayed there, and like we got to look at him and all that kind of stuff. And then we were going along again, and then he's like, oh yeah, we used to quail hunt this place, back in the day when I was a kid. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, but there's hardly any quail here, and blah, blah, blah. And we were going around this property, and he heard one, and he goes, listen, did you hear it? And I heard it too, and I was like, "That's pretty cool." He goes, "Watch this," and he starts whistling to him, and that quail came from where he was and flew to within 5 feet of us, like just fluttered down. Like he ran for a little while, and then he just pitched up and then flew right down where we were. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like you just called in that quail. He's like, "Oh, we used to do that all the time," and I was like, "That was just a cool experience with him." He's
one of my parlor tricks. It's one of my parlor tricks, or parlor, whatever you want to call it down here. Like we'll be driving down the road and we'll see a covey of quail running down the road or fly off, and there's a couple different whistles, but there's a whistle that they do when they're in distress, and I'll do that at them, and you can literally watch the hens or cockbird they put their wings out and puff up, and they run right at you because they think something's hurting a baby or and that's one of the tricks we do. All my guys can do it. And it's one of the things we do, and it's neat. It's awesome. It goes back to those ground nesting birds are different.
Yeah,
they're different birds.
Exactly. It even got to the point where he was doing that, and I even tried to like start whistling, like Bob White, and I do it all the time, and like my wife always like looks at me funny when I'm doing it because it'll just be random. Like we'll just be hanging out, and I'll just start whistling and doing it that way just because I like the way it sounds.
It helps if you got that right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a gap too, so that's probably why. And it works well for that, and then it works well for whistling for dogs too, because same thing. Like I whistle at my dogs. That's how I get their attention, and that gap helps out.
And and we do hunt our quail with dogs. Sometimes it's too warm. Sometimes there's just too many birds. That is an actual problem. There's just too many birds. It's unsafe. Like I talked to a customer today, and he's like, "Man, I was telling the guys, I got a couple new guys coming this year. I was telling them how last year I stood in one place for 2.5 minutes, and I just shot and how I told them you put the dogs up, and they didn't like that, but I just told them it was unsafe. You just couldn't have the dogs down." And it's unsafe. Hell, it's unsafe for the guides and the other shooters. Everybody, it's not like dove hunting where you're spread out. Everybody's kind of close, and birds flying everywhere, getting up everywhere. Sometimes it's just so many birds that we don't even run the dogs. I'll put my cockers down, put them at heel, or just let them run real close. I'm not so worried about the cockers, but the point dogs, it can get dangerous for them real quick when there's that. And the truth of it is when there's that many birds flying, in the field, you just don't need them.
Yeah.
They just get away. And the reality of that is the best way to kill quail, I'm not saying hunt quail, the best way to kill quail is to walk them up. Get in a line, stomp on every square inch of that field, and you'll kill quail.
Yeah.
That's the best way to kill them. In my opinion, the best way to hunt them is with a well-trained point dog or an English cocker. I love my English cocker.
All right. So kind of getting into that, like how much, I know you said you were in love with the dogs and stuff. What was, I guess, when did you start like training dogs and getting to that aspect? And like, I know you said you were cleaning kennels and stuff, but when did you get that promotion?
At 15 years old, I was apprentice. I don't know, assistant, not even assistant. What do you call that? Lackey? Hand?
Yeah, hand.
In Texas, it's a hand.
Yeah.
If you go back to a bunch of the old gun dog VHSs, especially if Harold's in them. If Harold's in them, I'm probably in them. I'm in the background reaching out in a bush, flipping a pigeon up out of the bush, or like I'm in the background holding a dog or doing something, And so, yeah, I learned from those guys, Dave McCumber, Harold Adams, but then and Dave Meisner, Tom Holcomb, and all those guys that used to run around in that group. There's a bunch of guys I'm missing. A bunch of those old guard that are long gone now. Harold's been dead for I think 15 years maybe. And I think Dave's been dead longer than that. Dave's been dead 28 or 29 years now, I think. He's been dead a long time. And then Tom, I think, passed away a couple years ago. But even from that, I had a good boss in Georgia named Bart Chandler, who runs a quail hunting operation in South Carolina now. Bart was a great boss. He sent me to George Hickok's school of dog training. He sent me to a bunch of those guys, to the Smiths and all that stuff. And I don't know George Hickok's personally. Like we're not buddies or anything, but going to his training school was definitely worth the money. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
The Smiths, their school is definitely worth the money and going to it. And you're talking, that was 20 years ago I went to those. And so, yeah, I've always kind of been in it from my very first job. I learned from Harold the old school ways and some of the new stuff he'd come up with and kind of done himself. Like a lot of these techniques that you're seeing people use, like Harold and those guys came up with, and not just Harold, but the crew he was running with.
Yeah, they're just bouncing ideas off each other and then seeing what works.
Guys and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's. And now I wouldn't say I'm a great dog trainer. I'm not. There's people in the world that are 10 times better than me, or 1,000 times better than me. I struggle with patience. You got to have patience. I struggle with my patience on them, and there's things that I'm weak at when it comes to dog training. But at the same time, I have a passion for it, and I love them. I love the dogs, and even down here in Mexico, random damn street dog. That's my problem down here. That's my biggest problem in Mexico. Everybody's like, what about cartels? I'm like, no, my biggest problem is all the damn random dogs I got to look at. I'm like, poor bastard. I just want to fix it or help it. That's my biggest issue down here is not. And then also, there's some of the stuff of, and I'll say it real quick. People in the States that say they're poor. No, you're not. No, you're not. Come down here. I'll show you poor. And so there's that aspect of Mexico. I don't want to discredit that. But yeah, one of my biggest problems with Mexico is driving through a little town, seeing some little skinny dog that's starving to death and being like, man, I'd rather shoot you than watch you suffer. But, that's rough. But yeah, I'm a dog guy, man. I love them.
What's one of the first dogs that you can remember that you worked with that was kind of like Like with dog trainers, you have like a first dog.
There's a dog that I didn't train him. I didn't do anything with him, but I ran my first bird hunt, and so a guy didn't show up that day, and Harold needed somebody to hunt, and he's like, "Well, Paul, you put the birds out. You know where they are. You think you can do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think I can." And he's like, "Well, just take Yoda and those other two, and just go." And so I took Yoda out there, and Yoda had been, I think he's like 9 at that time. He's a German short hair. He'd been hunting there for 9 years. He'd hunted that field 1,000, 1,500 times probably in his life. And he ran that hunt. I didn't do anything. Like, I really didn't do anything. He really did it all. He pointed himself. He woed himself. He ran that hunt. He made me look like $1 million at 16 years old. So yeah, Yoda will always have a special place in my heart. And then I had another dog named King, and he was a Gordon setter. And most people I say Gordon setter, and they're like, "Oh, yeah." And even now I'm one of those people. Like 99% of Gordons.
Yeah, they've been hijacked. Yeah.
But old King came out of Intraset, a bloodline in Missouri that was field trial based, and he was a stud. He hunted King Ranch. He hunted Georgia. He hunted wild birds, planted birds. He hunted Montana. He hunted, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of birds that dog had shot over him. But King was really the first one that I ever took from being a puppy to a steady to wing and shot, true finished bird dog. There's a ton of people that say a finished bird dog is a dog that points birds and you can kill birds over and maybe retrieve. No, a true finished bird dog is a steady to wing and shot bird dog. And King was my first one and my best one. He was a dog, one of a life. I mean, I'll never have another one like him. No matter how many dogs I have, I'll never have another one like him. He was really the one that I'll never forget and will always have my soft spot. You know, yeah. I got him. He's the one I went to that school in Illinois with.
Okay. Yeah.
So as he's a year old, I'm 20 years old, and we go off to college together. Like pulling up the Kagers, letting him out of the truck, and 9:00 the next morning being like, and he'll come up out of the bushes, out of the woods with blood and cuckleburs and crap all over him, and we both had a hell of a night.
Yeah, I mean that's. I think with guys that love dogs, you're always it's another double-edged sword, man. Because when you get one like that, like it's hard to see. Kind of, in my opinion, it's hard to see what they are while you're in it. But it kind of starts, and I'm kind of doing it with my dog now. Like she's been the best dog that I've had. And she's a Catahoula. Like, I mean, she doesn't hunt birds. She'll chew them up. She'll eat them if you shoot them. She'll go over there and eat them. But
Catahoula, that's not what they're bred to do.
No, exactly.
It's one of the reasons I get into it. Sorry to interrupt. It's one of the reasons, and I got to say this because I love Boykins. It's one of the reasons I get annoyed with Boykins. A Boykin now is a bastardized version of what it was.
Yeah.
A Boykin is a retriever, and people are trying to use them as flushing dogs. They're not a flushing dog. It's a retriever. A lab's not a flushing dog. It's a retriever, and people are breeding this pointing lab.
They're
breeding slick-coated Boykins with long legs. Use your dog for what it. And if you want a pointing dog, you want a bird dog, get a bird dog.
Yeah.
A Catahoula is not a bird dog.
Exactly.
It's a game dog. You should be able to hunt whatever the hell you want to hunt with a Catahoula.
Yeah, and that's what I've done with her. But she's getting older now, and like I see it, and it's like, man, all the stuff that we've done, the animals we've chased, the things she's gotten into. It's just like you see that in a dog, and it's like, man, I wish I could just have you for a little longer, But and I mean, she's still running good. I mean, she's still got plenty of energy, but you can tell like she's not going to go hunt and do the things that she was doing when she was, 5 and 6 and 7. Now she's 10.
No.
So
No, I was lucky. King hunted all the way up till he was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
Hunted hard. I mean, he's just one. I can't tell you how special he was, but and there's been 1,000 others since then that I'd actually just lost. Probably one of my favorite dogs in my life, Mariposa. She's a Mexican. This sounds bad, but she's a Mexican Belgian Mountain Law. And by that means she got something else in her down here. But she was Belgian for sure. She had a bunch of Belgian in her. Whatever else she had, I don't really know.
Yeah.
About a month. No, puppies are probably 10 weeks old now. So probably 2 weeks ago, she disappeared. Be gone.
Man.
Jaguar, whatever got her down here. But that was my girl, man. When I'm in Mexico, that was my girl. Like,
yeah.
We were together. I'll tell you a story about it real quick. We were walking the runway out here. I've got a runway behind here that I'm working on redoing, so you can land behind the lodge. But we were walking the runway, and I picked up a couple throwing sticks. A stick with a knot on the end of it, where you can. Yeah, I picked up a couple of those. We're walking the runways, trying to get a rabbit. She chased the first couple, and about the third or fourth one, it cut back and came towards me. And so I threw that stick out there, and it skidded out in front of the rabbit. I missed the rabbit. And she just stopped and looked at me. And I thought, oh no, I messed her up. She thinks I was throwing it at her. And she stopped, looked at me, looked at the rabbit, looked at the stick, looked at me, looked at the rabbit, looked at the stick. Swear to God, this is God's honest true story. Next rabbit, she sees it up there. She goes across the runway, gets in the grass, goes up around it, and pushes it back towards me. From that point forward, she pushed him towards me.
I'll believe it.
How the hell she figured out that, like, she just knew, like, right then, we're hunting together. Okay. Yeah. Cool. I'll push him to you.
Exactly. You're helping me out.
Yeah. And so I miss Mariposa, man. But on that note, I got 2 of her puppies back here that she just disappeared. I think Javelin is her Jaguar got her. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she just disappeared. And so I got 2 of her puppies back there that we're going to try to turn them into ranch dogs. But I don't think they'll ever be like her. She's right up there with King as far as one of the smartest, not just dogs, but animals I've ever been around. That damn Mariposa was a genius as far as a dog goes. And I'm gonna miss her, and the guests next year are gonna miss her bad. There's people that damn just when they weren't hunting, they just sat on the porch with her. And so no, I'm gonna miss old Mariposa. She deserves to be mentioned in the story of good dogs.
I like it, man. I mean, even those ranch dogs on some of the places we've been, they're like the coolest ones that you're gonna meet. And they're the smartest. They go, because they're like, I could go hunting with you, or I can just chill right here. And when you come back, I'm sure you'll bring me something.
Yeah. Well, she was a good one, but down here it's a whole nother world when it comes to that stuff. They just don't treat dogs like we do.
No, I don't. I mean, besides,
and that's money. It's culture, money, everything. It's not. I'm not slighting anybody. I'm not bagging on anybody. I fully get it. I've been out here 4 years, man. Like 4 years of learning about Mexico, learning the culture, learning all these things, and if anything comes out of this podcast, one of the things I'd like to say is Mexico's not the hellhole that the United States tries to make it out to be. The people sure as hell aren't. I'll say that right now. Some of the best people in the world are right here in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the most giving, caring people in the world. Now, do they have some bad situations going on in this country? Hell yeah. But there's some bad damn situations going on in the United States, too.
Yep.
And I've been here for 4 years. If they're going to get the gringo, they'd have got him. It's one of those kind of situations where it's not even an issue. It's not something that I worry about. The safety aspect of being in Mexico is not something I worry about. I'm sitting on a ranch in the middle of absolutely nowhere. There's not another house for 6 kilometers from me. 7. And I'm sitting here with my girlfriend in the middle of nowhere, and I'm not worried a bit,
Yeah.
not at all. And
And
my guests that come down here would all agree to that. They'd all say the same thing.
Yeah, and I feel like you said, there's the media tells you one thing about what's going on and everything, and I feel like most of American, especially in Texas, like we understand that there's not everybody that's coming across the border is not the bad people, right?
No.
And they're trying to.
I think for the last 3 years, a lot of those people were bad.
That's what I'm getting at. The normal ones that are just coming over, right? That are trying to get a better life. Like you said, you're gonna have the bad apples and the people that are taking advantage of a system that isn't built for the influx of people that we've been having. And that's a whole different topic. Like, our immigration system needs total rehaul on how it's approached and handled and everything. And I think it really is like, people just need to realize, like, if you're vetting these places, if you can go hunt, you can go have a good time. If you think about it, there's so many people that'll run to Cancun, that'll run to Cozumel, and
I tell you right now,
stay down there.
Cancun's 1,000 times more dangerous than where you're at. Like 1,000. Hell, Baltimore or Houston, Texas is more dangerous to run around with me.
Exactly.
But
just like, you run down there, you can still go to these other places just because you're not at the beach and you don't perceive it as a safe spot. Like, you're still safe.
Yeah, and what people don't know is, like, the back side of things, and I'm not going to get into that, like how the organizations work that are in control, and who's actually in control, and da. You want somebody in control.
Yes.
You want a steady person that's in control of that area. When there is no steady person, there is no jefe for the area. That's when it becomes dangerous. And there is no true jefe that runs Cancun. There's 5 of them, 6 of them. And then there's a bunch of just random ass gangs and shit that run around there. What are you gonna do? Like,
exactly.
That guy doesn't have an higher up. So yeah, it's one of those things where they just don't know. Like, they're ignorance is bliss. And here is just not like that. Like, Tamaulipas gets a bad rap because it has a panhandle. That panhandle starts at Laredo, and comes all the way down to the mouth of the Rio Grande. Matamoros, Reynosa, for the most part, are pretty stable places. You get out towards Laredo, Nuevo Laredo, and it's Wild West out there. And so Tamaulipas gets a bad rap because that panhandle.
It's so close, yeah.
Now, granted, every once in a while, Matamoros will pop up on the news, or Reynosa, but so does Baltimore, so does Houston, so does Chicago. Like, Matamoros is a town of like 450,000 people. Reynosa's got even more. So you put 450,000 people in a small little area, crazy stuff happens.
Yeah. I'll tell the story real quick. I remember one first times Megan and I went and stayed the night in San Antonio, and we got back to the hotel, and you just turn the TV on while you're putting stuff away and everything, and I just happened to turn on the news. And if you listen to the San Antonio news, stabbing, shooting, stabbing, shooting, like it's right there. And you don't have any problem going to the Riverwalk. You don't have any problem going to Alamo Draft House and all them other places. It's like, wherever you go, you got to know what to do. If it's dark outside, if it's nighttime, you should probably be on a little bit more high alert, or get to where you need to be.
And the truth of that is I've been all over the world, man, and been to almost every major city in the United States, driven to most of them because I hate flying. And the truth of that is I've never had my truck broke into anywhere in the world other than San Antonio, Texas.
Yep.
And it's happened twice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and as far as Mexico goes, it's not something you need to worry about, man. Like, there's so many other things that they're worried about. And as far as the government goes, a lot of the old timers say, "Oh, well, we got rolled by a police officer." Well, they've got rid of that stuff now too. That has not happened to me in 4 years. I've never once had an officer or military guy or anybody ask me for money.
Yeah.
Mainly because I haven't had any. Probably, but I've never had it happen. That stuff's in the wayside. There's no more municipal police, which were the guys doing that, the city guys. Now it's state and federal, and those guys aren't messing with that. They're pretty darn serious about their jobs. In most cases, they're bad apples, like in everything. But I've got nothing but respect for Mexico, Mexicans, true Mexicans, like people that live in Mexico. I've got nothing but respect for the country, and I love it here. I'm working on getting my dual citizenship at some point, and I'm working on buying this lodge. I've got the deal worked out. We're making our payments, and I'm not going anywhere. And I hope that people in the future realize that a lot of what they're afraid of is just, most cases, fabricated. There's damn sure places in Mexico that are damn dangerous.
Yeah.
But we're not there. And I wouldn't, and the truth of that is, if I had even the inkling that I was in danger or my guests were in danger, I'd be out of here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I love myself. I'm not looking to get hurt. If it came to that, I'm out of here, man. Like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And so just the fact that I'm here should tell you something. But yeah, I mean, did it take some stones to come down here and do what I did? Yeah, but I wouldn't have done it without Jose. I had Jose with me, and again, I haven't really talked about Jose in this podcast, but Jose's my 50-50 business partner. He's like a brother to me. He's one of the best duck hunters I've ever met in my life, period. I mean, I've been around some world-class duck hunters from Tim Grounds, blah, 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 blah. And Jose's right there with them. He's as good as they come. And so could I have done it without him? Yeah, but it would have been
a whole lot harder.
Oh man, it's not even comparable. And could he have done it without me? Yeah, he could have, but it would have been a hell of a lot harder. You know? And so we're a good team. That's why it goes back to me saying that's meant to be. Like, I had that phone call right out of the truck. Went down, met Jose. We clicked right off the bat. Like, it is meant to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I don't intend on changing it anytime soon.
Like I said, man, that's an awesome story to hear about, just like persevering and like staying on track of what you really want to do. And
I'll tell you a quick synopsis of our 4-year deal. So Jose and I decide we're working at this other lodge as employees. And Jose and I decide, okay, let's do this on our own. We can do this on our own. So we decide that next season we're going to do it on our own. We're looking for money. I had yet to sell everything and take a loan. And so we're looking for money, a partner, and we find a wealthy gentleman. He agrees to partner with us. Well, he just hauls around for 4 or 5 months, gets to be August. Our dove season starts August 16th, and we still don't have anything started. We've got the business formed, everything else, but we don't have funding. Anyway, I get to August. I'm like, you know what? Forget him. He's not interested. He keeps wishy-washy. Let's just do it. So I took a loan and sold my boat and a bunch of other stuff and started the business and started the season. Well, we get through August, nothing's going on. We couldn't really get anybody to come down. Get to October and get to August, into August, my mom got sick with COVID. She stays sick until the 1st of October, 15 days on a ventilator, which is amazing. Came off of it, fought her way out of it. As soon as my mom gets out of the hospital, Jose's mom goes in. She passes away October 26th, 27th, something like that. This is our first season. We're supposed to be in our first season.
Yeah.
His mom passed away October 27th, 26th, 27th. Well, my mom comes out of hers, but then has a stroke. She passed away December 23rd. We're like, oh my God, this is horrible. Obviously, it's horrible. And so we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. And we just decide, all right, let's just get some people down here. Let's run a couple quail hunts, get some content. And so that January, we ran like 3 or 4 hunts, got some content, and went into our next season. Ran 56 people that next season. Halfway through the season, even with a contract, got kicked out of the lodge. Had 2 groups crawfish because we moved lodges halfway through the season. That was $60,000. Had to give that back. Didn't have to, but did.
Yeah.
Because, that's the way it should have been. I should have given them the money back. And so that was our second season. Ran 56 people, and those 2 groups crawfish on us, about broke us. Then decided, all right, we got to find a better lodge, and couldn't. Ran our next season through a lodge, and then our third season, because really that'd be our third real season. We found this place and talked to the owner and made a deal, long-term agreement, and moved in here. And really, that was the thing that sent us off. Once we got a home, then we just hit the ground running, man. I mean, and from the year before last to this year, we had 51% growth. And I'm hoping to do like 30 this year. 50 is realistic. You can't do that every year. To do it in 1 year, that's incredible. And I'm proud of Jose. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my crew. And that's really where we're at now. Is we've moved into our home. This is where we belong. We're not going anywhere. We've got great staff. I'd kill for any one of my people. Got unbelievably good staff. We've got Mickey now. Mickey is this summer learning to really run the dogs and really work them. And so hopefully next year Mickey's a quail guide and can kind of make a name for himself. At 25 years old, coming out of Campesina, Tamaulipas, town of about 30 people, he's going to be doing real well for himself in a year or 2.
Yeah.
About the time he's looking to get married to that girlfriend he's got, he's doing real well for himself down here. He'll have himself a nice truck and a couple dogs, and he's going to be living the dream. And really, for me down here, that's as much of it as anything. Like, yeah, I want to make money. You got to make money. Everybody's got to make a living. But the truly satisfying things are people talk about making impacts. No, I truly make a huge impact on a daily basis down here. And that's been the real eye opener in Mexico, is how much I can actually help people, not just people, but communities.
Yeah.
And that has made it even more of a passion, or made it more, I don't know the word, but it's just made it so much more urgent for me to succeed.
Yeah.
It's like I can relate now to the guy that's got 4 kids and working that, 80 hours a week. Like before, it was always just like, whatever, man, I'm gonna make enough money to go hunt.
Take care of yourself. But now you have other people that are dependent on and
not just other people, whole damn towns.
Yeah. And families and what you're setting up and what you're doing is reaching farther than the person that you're just employing. And it's real special that you get to do that with obviously something that you love, like when it comes from hunting. And I think a lot of people miss that too, especially because, we get a little jaded. We get spoiled over here in America about not thinking about the impact of what an outfitter or what a guide does to the community around him and everything else. But when you step out and you go to these other countries, you see it, like Africa, you see that too. And it's like people that look down on hunting that don't hunt, it's like they don't see all one animal or one covey of birds is doing for other human beings. Like there's you just can't really explain it to them, and they don't.
On occasion, I'll get into the Facebook or Instagram where I'm like, nah, you some bitch, you're gonna learn today.
Mm-hmm. It happens to me too.
Doesn't happen too often anymore. Back when social media started, I was pretty heavy into it, to the point where I was on lists for death threats, and mom was getting calls on her cell phones being like, I'm going to kill you. But I don't do that stuff so much anymore. But every once in a while I'll go down. And the truth of it is, for me, like here, Jose and I hunt 500,000 acres. And with Jose, we'll go on to a place and we'll talk to him and be like, hey, man, like, you're overgrazing this. Because they don't care about the wildlife. They're more worried about the cattle.
Mm-hmm.
You're overgrazing this. If you just pull them off a month earlier, we can still hunt it. You get a little bit of money, and the birds are still there. So I'm not changing the farmer's opinion of the quail. He doesn't give a damn. But I am adding more wildlife to the population. I am improving habitat on a big scale compared to most organizations, even.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to say any names, but just by myself. And when you start looking at the African guys, especially like Namibia and places like that, oh man, like they're protecting animals, not just the animals they hunt, but the other animals
that are around them
that aren't hunted on a level that the non-hunter can't fathom. They don't understand.
No.
And there's a guy named Ivan from Matamoros. He is a wildlife recovery guy. He helps wildlife. He's become a buddy of mine, but he's working for a ranch down the road here that has a high fence. And he was asking me, well, I don't understand how you hunt and this and that. And I'm like, hey, Ivan, how do you pay for all this? And he's like, well, the owner pays for it. I'm like, yeah, you've got a wealthy owner, and he pays for it. You know how everybody else does it? They take the oldest animal on the property, they shoot it and sell that, or they sell that opportunity to shoot it, and then they use that money to help all the other animals. They're not killing a 2-year-old. They're taking a trophy animal is the oldest animal on the property. And so they're taking that oldest animal that's had his life, probably past the point of breeding.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably not productive at that point, taking him as competition out, getting revenue from him, and taking that revenue and putting it back into the other animals or into the habitat. And it was one of the first times in my life I ever explained it to somebody and had them be like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, like I'll still respect Ivan for that. I mean, he immediately changes. And now he kills deer and he hunts, and he's one of us now. Difference is when a possum is hurt on the side of the road and somebody calls him, he goes and picks it up and he takes care of it and tries to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you and I would just be like, damn, there's a dead possum over there.
Yeah. Oh man. That like I said, I was real excited to do this podcast with you because I like I said, we passed each other at different events and stuff, and you kind of get a feeling for somebody based on obviously like meeting them for that first time, but who they associate with when you're at those events and stuff. And obviously Brandon spoke very, very highly of you and everything, and I think of him as a good judge of character. So I really wanted to know your story and everything, and it's gotten even better. Like I know we could sit here for hours and talk, and I know we will
for days, man.
Yeah. And I know we had spoke about before about, like getting together, and, I love doing these podcasts, and it just makes me want to be in camp. Like the doing this, it feels kind of like that, but obviously we're talking to a screen and everything, but like it's, man, just those conversations and the stuff you can learn from different people, like you said, with the people you were around. It's just, I I tell all my guests this, it's cool. I love doing the podcast. I mean, I don't make any money doing the podcast. Like, to be honest with you, I probably lose money on time and everything. But I get to learn from so many people and hear so many different like perspectives on things, and like just it fuels me to do the stuff that I'm doing, to be able to go see and experience all those things. So this podcast, I've said it before, it's more for me than it is for the listeners. They just get the byproduct of it.
It's one of those things where I feel like if you just keep plugging, man, just keep plugging. You know, a body of work is a body of work.
It is.
And at the end of it, 30 years from now, Lord knows where it'll be. You know?
Exactly. And if it's still in the same spot, I get to listen to some pretty cool podcasts and think about the things and the conversations that I got to have before.
At the end of 30 years, if you did it for that long, shoot, you know how many crazy people you'll have had on, like, it'll be impressive. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to come on it, is because I feel like you're upcoming, you try, you work hard. Brandon vouched for you. Brandon and I are buddies, man. I got nothing but respect for Brandon. He's done a lot for me, and he is my friend. And just the fact he vouches for you says a lot to me. But and really, that come seeing you at West Texas, that was when I was like, yeah, I got to get on that podcast.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get that.
Well, that makes me pretty proud of what I've been doing. Like, I appreciate you saying that for sure, man. And like I said, I had a great time on the podcast tonight. We're going to get you back on again, and hopefully try to get down there to Mexico and chase some birds. Definitely. I know you said you're full on turkeys for next year, but maybe 2027 we can.
I'm not full, but we could probably fit a couple more in.
We could get something figured out, man, for sure.
Yeah, we can get something else in, and then I'm always going to be I'll be in Missouri turkey.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's always about the first or second Monday in April, I think, is when it starts. So yeah, I'll be there. I'll be sneaking around in the Missouri turkey woods somewhere.
Cool, man. Well, let everybody know where we can find you if they're looking to go chase some quail birds or anything else.
I never did talk about doves. We got some unbelievable dove hunting, so let's not forget that. But yeah, you can find us at www.eldoradooutfittersmx.com. On socials, it's Eldorado Outfitters, Instagram and Facebook. And then info at eldoradooutfittersmx.com.
Cool.
So,
well, sounds good, man. I'll drop it in the show notes and everything. And then, maybe around August or something, I know y'all be kicking it off and being busy, but maybe I'll catch you right before y'all get started. We'll do a little, dove episode.
Let's do a dove season podcast. I got Poncho shirts is coming down August 16th.
Oh, dude. Awesome. Yeah. They did
stuff. That's going to be a blast.
Dude.
Shout out to Poncho.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Poncho stuff too, man. Like they're a great company. I did a video for them and stuff, and then I reached out. They actually outfitted my whole wedding. So it had the Western shirts and everything, and all my groomsmen. I was like, I hit them up because I did that video for them. I was like, hey, I got some, pretty good photographer, a really good photographer coming for the wedding and everything. And then my bachelor party, they sent us a bunch of shirts, sun shirts, and then the Western shirts. Dude, they're real good people. I love all their products.
Yeah, they're good people. So yeah, we got some stuff coming, but yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I had a blast, and yeah, let's do it again about August, into July, August.
Sounds good, man. Well, thanks everybody for listening to the podcast. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and this was another good one in my book for sure. So we'll catch y'all next week. Peace.
Yep.